Hello and welcome to the Story Behind the Stories, your weekly look at the pages of the Neepawa Banner Press. Thank you very much for taking a little bit of your time and spending it here with us on NAC TV. I'm Eoin Devereux, news reporter with the Banner Press, joined this week by a well-rested Casper Wehrhahn. Casper, good to have you back. A little bit of vacation, well-earned vacation time recently.
Yeah, good to be here, and it really was nice having that bit of time off. Just a week, but felt so good just to rest up and get some things done. And happy to sit on the show here and go through another full paper this week.
Really does recharge the batteries during the summer because there's so many different activities and events that are going on, especially in August. I've noticed over the years we've been here, August seems to be the time where every surrounding community to Neepawa seems to be ramping up and doing some sort of special event. And that's why we're able to get out and about and get so much of it in this week's edition of the Banner Press. But on the front page, even though it coincided with their fair, which is an annual event, was a very special event that occurred in Gladstone over the weekend. And I was able to go down there and see it with my own eyes. I didn't jump in, I didn't do a cannonball, but it looked like it was deep enough and that I could have. And I'm talking about their new pool, or maybe should I say their aquatic center. They officially cut the ribbon this previous Saturday on the Legion Gladstone Aquatic Center. That's its full name. The local Legion in the community of Gladstone, the 110, if I remember correctly, gave a donation. They raised money, about $50,000, and acquired the naming rights for the Aquatic Center for the next 5 years. And there were so many different groups and organizations and individuals as well that stepped up in that community and surrounding communities that really make this happen. And now to see it go from an artist rendering, which we had in the previous edition of the paper, to what it is right now, they really pulled it off nicely, I thought, Casper. I mean, it looks great.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. I mean, the water slide, that's always a big attraction for pools. It goes right in the water there, so the kids and anyone else really of any age, I'm sure will have a lot of fun with that. Of course, there's that sort of mushroom feature there too, so that's really good.
Exactly, and it just spits the water out under there, so it's like a little
bit of a shower.
This is the international sign for spraying mushroom.
Yeah.
But no, it was really well done, and to be able to be there and see the ribbon cutting for it as part of the festivities they had for the fair and see it coincide with that was great. I had a chance to speak with the mayor on that, and he was able to share some great information on there. He thought it was very important for them to get it open before the end of summer, even though it's only going to be about 3 weeks that they're going to be able to get out there and to be able to use it before it closes down for the season. But again, 3 weeks is still plenty of time for families in and around Gladstone, and hopefully 1 or 2 families from Neepawa to head down the road and check it out.
Definitely. I mean, hey, it gives you a bit of a teaser, and then you'll be excited to use the pool a lot more in the following summer. So
most definitely. We've got an array of pictures on the front page of the Banner Press, and if you think that's it, then you're not opening up the pages of the paper, because if you go on to page 14 of this week's edition, the complete story on how we got from an artist rendering and a hope for a community to present day and, dreams become reality, as it were. That's how we lay it out for you. And I really, again, I'm glad to see that a community like Gladstone, which I go to from time to time for work, usually, or driving through towards Winnipeg, so it's a great community. I've been in there enough times to sort of meet the people, know the people, and get to know them, so it's something they richly deserve. And again, something else the mayor said to me as well is that they wanted to make sure that this wasn't, quote-unquote, Gladstone's pool. This is not just for the community proper. It's for all the surrounding communities. And again, Mayor Shipman, he lists off a couple of the different ones just to go in. Lang Ruth, he says Westburn and Plumas and all the surrounding communities. They want them to be able to enjoy it just as much. And I think they definitely will.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always a wonderful community to go to and visit, and this is a fantastic attraction. Well, to have upgraded and installed, and I know it'll get a lot of use in the years going forward. So awesome.
If you want to learn a little bit more, of course, you can check out this week's edition of the Banner Press and get the full story. If you find out a little bit of information to go down the road and maybe check it out, go on to the Gladstone website. They've got all the scheduling for the Aquatic Center on there. You can get that information online. And it wasn't just the grand opening of the Aquatic Center. They also had the fair going on. So I have to give a shout out to John Drinkwater of NACTV, who was there videoing all the festivities as they went on last weekend. He also got 1 or 2 still pictures for us at the Banner Press. John, we very much appreciate the support and the aid in that. If you'd like to see some of that, you can also find some of those pictures in this week's paper. They're on page 18. And there was so many other things on the go at the same time. While I was in Gladstone, Chris and Ken Waddell took the long road trip out to Alonza, actually. And we're able to cover Alonza's homecoming. And we've got those pictures in this week's paper as well. I don't think, Casper, I don't think I have ever been out to the Alonza homecoming. Have you ever in any capacity been out there in previous years? Or?
You know, I don't think I have. In fact, in general, I don't know if I've ever been to Alonza myself. But it looks like it was a great event, very well attended, people coming from all over to go to this event, reunite with old friends from Alonza or make new friends. Enjoyed a wonderful pancake breakfast there and so much more. So it was really awesome to have some feet on the ground out there and give some coverage to this.
Most definitely, especially since they were celebrating their 100th this year. So congratulations to the community of Alonza on hitting that centennial milestone. All right, let's get a little bit closer to home. Casper, you're very appreciative. You cut your vacation just a tad short on Sunday, but you did it to cover a great event and a very good cause that came rolling into Neepawa.
Yeah, so some people may be familiar with the Rolling Barrage. That is the group that came through Neepawa this past weekend. And if you're not familiar with the Rolling Barrage, we do have some information on the page about them, but essentially it's an annual fundraiser. It's a motorcycle group that rolls across Canada and raises money in support of combating PTSD. And this is their 3rd year in Neepawa, I believe, they came through and made a stop at the Legion where they enjoyed some food. But of course, all of their bikes were parked out there for people to view, take photos, etc. As much as they like. And it was quite something, I have to admit. I was expecting a good sort of group coming in. I didn't anticipate how big, though. I heard them sort of rumbling up the highway, and I was like, okay, they're coming. And then I see them turn the corner and start coming down. And they keep coming down. And they keep coming down. And they keep coming down. And it just sort of ended up being this huge pack right in front of the Legion. And I hesitate to even guess how many bikes there were because I'm so bad at estimating. But I can definitely say with confidence it was way more than 10.
11 it is.
11
13 it is.
But it was so awesome to see. I couldn't stick around for too long there. But they also usually get a donation, which I'm pretty sure happened again this year. So we'll have to see about maybe tracking that down, hopefully at least getting a number on that. But always great to have them come through and have people show their support for such an amazing group with what they're trying to achieve.
That's right. And again, as you said, Casper, this is the 3rd year, in fact, that they have come rolling into Neepawa. The first year, a couple of years ago, it was a beautiful, perfectly sunny day, and Neepawa was out in full force, even out to the highway, onto the turnoff over by the campground. They were welcomed with so many hundreds and hundreds of local citizens came out to wish them well. It was a perfect summer day for it, and they were so appreciative of it and the support that Neepawa had given them. They didn't forget it, and the next year they came out Unfortunately, that year it was rain, nothing but rain, so it wasn't the same sort of warm welcome that they had received the year before, but they still went down to the Legion, and people were sporadically coming in, wishing them well, and donations, and the Legion gave them a notable donation as well. And this year it was a little bit of hit and miss. It was a little bit of rain, a little bit overcast, a little bit of rain, so yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point that I was going to actually touch on as you were bringing it up. It was sort of touch and go there throughout the day. It was sort of like overcast and raining here and there. So I started wondering if it was going to be rainy as they were coming in too, but no, everything cleared up. They had such great weather, both for the cyclists and of course anyone in attendance that was looking forward to greeting them. So that was awesome that we were able to have those clear skies, nice warm weather, not too hot though, for that entire event.
That's right. And again, fortunately, they were inside the Legion just in case they ran into that situation. And speaking of which, next story we're going to talk about, they sort of shifted everything over from Arts Forward over into Yellowhead, not just because of the weather conditions, but because they just ran out of room. And I'm talking about the inaugural Children's Business Fair, which was put on by Economic Development Office here in Neepawa. It's the first time this event has occurred, and it was a very intriguing event. If you read the pages of the Neepawa Banner Press on a consistent basis, you probably saw the preview story we had in there a few weeks ago talking about that and what was trying to get accomplished through it. Essentially, it's a summer-type festivity event where, you know, kids come up with ideas, certain items, products, and follow them through. In essence, developing their own business idea. And that's what this was about. I spoke with Marilyn Crew about it, and she had modest expectations about what it could do. And the only reason she had those modest expectations is because what she had seen in other communities, such as Brandon, for example, where it was about a dozen, maybe about a dozen people that participated in their version of it. Well, Neepawa, quite honestly, blew Brandon out of the water. There were 20 different booths that were a part of it, and from the sounds of it, there could have been more. So this is something that they're going to try and turn into a consistent annual event, and it sounds like it's something that could be even bigger next year from the way Marilyn was describing it. She was blown away. She was pleasantly surprised by the amount of support and the amount of enthusiasm that was a part of it. Now, again, the participants can have that certain level of enthusiasm, great, but it means nothing unless you get the community coming out and having that same sense of enthusiasm and that same sense of support. And boy, did you step up in a big way. From the sounds of it, there were several hundred people that walked through while it was going on last Thursday, the 10th, if I remember correctly. And it was only about 3 hours that it was on there. We weren't putting them through an 8-hour day. Come on, they're kids. They're supposed to have a little bit of fun. Let's see. There's certain rules and regulations in government that don't allow for that type of labor. All right, so calm down. But it was still fun for them because they were able to share their ideas, their products, and, well, sell them. Because that's what business is about. It's about being able to sell your product for profit. You know, we're not doing this just for the heck of it. And that was the great thing as well. In total, all 20 were able to sell a combined about $3,600 worth of products, which is wonderful to hear. Each kid would stand up and just say, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. The name of my business is this. And today we were able to sell so-and-so amount of products." The leading one, there's actually 3 pictures in there. So you can see, I forget off the top of my head, but I believe it was, let's see, best business idea, highest business potential, presentation and creativity. One of those 3 businesses was able to sell about $450, I think it was, in total. And that wasn't leaps and bounds above everyone else. Everyone else did pretty good for their day. So the kids will have a little bit of back to school money when it's all said and done.
Absolutely, be able to treat themselves a little bit. And as you said, it's great to have such a big and positive response, not just from people who are participating, but from the community as well, just going and attending and supporting in that manner. You always want events going on in your community to have that kind of response, especially if you want to potentially keep them going in the future, because it's always a great thing to have more happening in your community for people to engage in from both perspectives. It livens the place up a bit, perhaps brings some visitors in, regardless of what the event may be. And you know, it gives people something to do in general. That's something that you always want to have. You want people to, people who are in your community to have things to do, not just feel like they have things to do, but actually have things that they can do. Because that's always big talk in areas, right? You want people to have, you know, recreation, all that sort of stuff. And as well as something like this, maybe it will inspire them to pursue their own business in the future. And that is absolutely fantastic. You know, you never know what ideas are going to come forward, and it could just be the next thing, right?
Very much looking forward to seeing how this continues to develop in future years, because I feel like this is going to become a new tradition for youth here in the town of Neepawa. Now, during this event as well, we had a person that was running about, making sure everything was organized, making sure everything was up to par, that every presenter had what they needed there. And that was the representative from the Yellowhead Center. And it was a new person who is standing in that role as the manager of operations. We have that story as well in this week's edition of the paper, and it is, maybe it's one of those worst kept secrets in and around Neepawa, but this person just started this week on that, officially on that new position, and is Yvonne Sisley, who is formerly at Arts Forward, and we'll get to that in just a little bit, but she has stepped up and she is taking over as the new director of operations for the Yellowhead Center. And this is very exciting. She has some great ideas, a lot of potential ideas on how to better explore the brand of the Yellowhead Center and bring in more revenue opportunities for the facility. If you don't remember, we'll just refresh your memory on this, the Yellowhead Center is a rarity in that it is community owned and operated completely. A lot of arenas, a lot of event centers like this in other communities are owned by the city or the town proper. A good example is the city of Portage la Prairie owns Stride. As well, if I remember correctly, Brandon as well is the main owner and operator of the Yellowhead Center. And that's the way it's usually done in most communities, most small towns. That's not the way it is in Neepawa. Doors are kept open by a bunch of people who live in this community, who volunteer on the Yellowhead board and do what they can to keep the doors open. So that's very appreciated. So it's so great to see people see the value of the facility and do what they can. And Yvonne wants to take that effort and build upon it. I had a chance to speak with her on a couple different things, about a few ideas about what she wants to do. I'm not going to give it away for you just right here. Going to have to work for it just slightly. That's why you got to pick up a copy of the Banner Press, either a physical copy in or around Neepawa, or you can find it every week on mywestman.ca. And it was very nice to see it. It feels like there's a real atmosphere of progress at the Yellowhead Center right now. And I'm not saying that it didn't exist before, and I'm not saying that at all, but it feels like the board and the manager of operations are sort of on the same page right now.
Right, and that's definitely something that that you want, keep things going smoothly, and you know, potentially getting a bit more, not really the right phrasing here, but a bit more proactive in, I guess, engagement in, you know, all facets of what they're trying to do there. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes going forward.
Most definitely. Now, of course, the Yellowhead Center's gain was Arts Forward Cultural Center's loss, because Yvonne was the manager and the administrator over at that facility. but very fortunately, a perfect little bit of serendipity when it came to the timing. An individual with those types of opportunities and experiences became available almost at the exact same time. And you've got that story, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah. I guess you could say there's been a little bit of musical chairs going on within the town of Neepawa. Eoin, of course, moving to the Yellowhead.
Perfect for the cultural center.
Yep.
Arts and culture.
Yeah, arts and culture. And we have Heidi Nugent coming from the town of Neepawa, who is filling in for Nicole Cooper for a period of about a year. She is coming to Arts Forward as the new administrator. So role swap, Nicole's going back to the town, Heidi's going to Arts Forward, and of course Eoin is at the Yellowhead. And this is a field that is very new to Heidi. Well, still kind of is, I guess. It was very new to her going in and getting onto the job with the town, doing recreation, and then, getting that interest in it from there, and just right timing. The cards were all there, and a spot was open at Arts Forward, and just wanting to keep pursuing that, Heidi was like, this is for me. Yeah. So she has now taken up that position and will officially be starting this coming Monday. So congratulations, and I'm really looking forward to continuing working with Arts Forward and getting to know Heidi a bit more. And something she mentioned she was excited with, speaking about collaboration, is continuing collaboration with the town, with Eoin at the Yellowhead, and all those sort of different facets to move forward and, coordinate events, etc., and bring in some new stuff as well, potentially. So really excited to see what comes up in the future.
Really excited to hear about that as well, because if we're being honest, there are times, it's not just the town in Neepawa. I'm not picking on the town in Neepawa per se. I've seen it in other communities, but there are many times where one hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing. And when it comes to organizing events or scheduling things like that, we as a collective, all the community groups in Neepawa, need to be a little more communicative with other groups about what's on the go. And this feels like that's the start of something like that, which would be fabulous to see. All right, let's talk a little bit. These were submitted stories for us, and we do appreciate those submissions. Always appreciate when you send us in pictures and information like this. The Youth Beef Roundup recently occurred in Neepawa, and to go with that, the Manitoba Sheep Association had their let's try that again. Manitoba Sheep Association had their annual show and shale by the seashore. They had it in Minnedosa recently, and both those organizations sent information in. Again, we very much appreciate it when you're able to send that stuff in for us, because we like to be able to share that information. I've just become cognizant of the fact that I'm saying words with the letter S a lot today.
Lots of S's and SH sounds, and they're all sort of blurring together.
Yeah. Man, the letters lost all meaning to me now.
What even is an
S? S. Yeah, it's lost all meaning. All right. We're going to power through, though. We're going to try and power through as best we can. Again, Youth Beef Roundup every year. So many young individuals as a part of that organization just flocked to Neepawa to be a part of it. They were able to send us 9 pages. Holy cow, 9 pages of information. We were not able to fit 9 pages into our 20-page paper, but we were able to get some of it in there, and you can find that. It's on page 11, continues on to page 14. They had a tremendous write-up explaining some of the things that were on the go, some of the results that came through it. And stay tuned, because next week as well, we're going to follow up with even more of those details that you can find out from the Manitoba Youth Beef Roundup. And as well, on our rural page, the Manitoba Sheep Association, their show and shale with sheep producers from Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Now I'm just doing it on purpose. They were in Minnedosa, and they were kind enough to send us some information, which we very much appreciated them forwarding our way. All right, let's wrap up. We've got a few minutes left, so I want to take a couple of these to single out this community and some of their youth athletes that really followed through and came up big recently for them. I'm talking about the Plumas Pirates of the Santa Clara Baseball League. A lot of people throughout our region who follow these types of things sort of know that Plumas is kind of the baseball town. The community is very much into the sport. They respect and appreciate it. There's a lot of premier players that have come out of that community over the decades, generation upon generation. And when it came to success, though, on a team level, they hadn't had it as of late. The last time they had won the Santa Clara Baseball League Championship was actually 1999. So what they were able to accomplish this year, as they were able to sweep the Minnedosa Mavericks in the Santa Clara Baseball League final recently, 3-0, what they were able to accomplish is really something special, not just for the players, not just for the coaches, but for the community as a whole. I went out to Game 3. It's the first time this year I've been able to go out to Plumas to watch a game, and you can see it. I mean, everybody was out there in the bleachers, out there watching. They had that sense of something special was going to happen, and it did. They really followed through. So I had a chance to speak with them, get some pictures and some of the details on that. And you can find that on our sports page, one of our sports pages on this week's. And I got to admit, Casper, I was trying to come up with sort of clever headlines. From time to time, I try and get a little overly clever with my headlines and try and do something with the pirate narrative. You know, pirates claim treasure, or, you know, swashbuckle to a title or something like that. And then it occurred to me, you know what? It's been about 24 years. Just keep it simple. You know, because believe it or not, somebody's going to be cutting this out of the newspaper and putting it in a frame and putting it on their wall or putting it in their scrapbook type thing because it means something to them. So when it comes to something like that, just keep it simple and just explain it. And that's what I did. The headline is, I got to check the headline again just to make sure. The headline was, Plumas Pirates win it all. And boy, did they ever. So congratulations once again to the Plumas Pirates on that. Well-earned, well-deserved. Well, we're coming up a little quickly on the end of this. We only got a couple minutes left. There's so many more things we could have talked about, including Jude Carr, a local baseball player who's going to be headed to Nationals, representing Team Manitoba. You can find that on the sports page as well. We got the results from the club championship at the Neepawa Golf and Country Club. We're going to be following up with that in a future edition as well. And we also got special features on White Mud Music Festival and Homecoming for Carberry, something else that's going to be coming up soon. Now, if you want to see them, that's why you got to pick up a copy of the paper. You can find it anywhere in Neepawa and many surrounding regions, including Brandon as well. Or you can find it at mywestman.ca. Always appreciate it when you pick up a copy of the paper and check out what's going on out and about in and around your community. Well, that ought to do it for pretty much this week, Casper. Good, again, great. Thanks for coming in, and glad to hear that the vacation was a restful, peaceful one.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us. It's always great to be here. And as Owen has said, take a look at the paper. There's so much more in there that we didn't have time to cover. Oh, most definitely. And 20 pages, chock full. We could have gone probably 22 pages. 24 may have been a little too much, but 22 extra, it's a little tight. But we're still all right with what we're able to get in there for you this week. If you do have any suggestions, or if you'd like to send a letter to the editor, a thumbs up or a thumbs down, you can always send it our way, either by calling us at 476-3401 or getting in touch with us at news@neepawabanner.com. If you have any story suggestions, we try to get to each and every one of them as best we can. So you can also get in touch with us that way as well. So that's this week's edition of The Story Behind the Stories. Thank you as always for taking a little bit of your time and spending it here on NAC TV with us. Have yourself another fantastic week.